but say like a thumbs up or something.
Mhm.
Let's pretend that's a thumbs up. And same for this. I would expand more into the details of the event or the group, and similar situation where if they're interested in going to that event or group, they can see a more in-depth look of like
Mm.
of the what that event is about, what the details or what the group's about. Really quickly, I'll just pretend this is for like a event name, members, whatever details there. And then say they match, then they can have within their profile, I think it'd be most appropriate to put it there, of I think it could be similar situation where it's their individual profile and then like the scheduled events that they have to go to.
Mhm.
Since it's more catered towards them, I think keeping them within the profile section would be most appropriate. Since it would be an overview, I think it could take the similar um, wait, events or people to match. Wait, no, it would stay in the messaging section or match section. Yeah, yeah, okay. And it could take the same structure of, so then I noticed that there's people's
Mhm.
groups or events. I think then, well, if they already matched it to within like the groups or like meetup section, then for like the actual match portion, it could stay between individual people, like a chat. And this could be like a log of any events or groups that they are interested in. If I had more time, I would like to spend more time on like how the architecture would work for the second group of like group slash event. But I think like overall, if they were to go onto this tab, then they could like see whatever groups that they're interested in or like specific events. And I would put events all with the dates since it's more time sensitive on the top and a more general groups that they're interested in on the bottom.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're almost about time.
Yes. Um,
Um, yeah.
and then I think like overall, so once they have the meetups or they get to meet whatever person, they can definitely keep that log. It'll always stay here. And I think I would leverage the profile section or either whichever main group or, oh yeah, groups or the profile section to then even recommend new events or meetups that they would like to join for the future. So then overall, I think to recap everything, this would be an app for people with social anxiety to break the ice with each other. Um, and to do that would leverage how they would like to meet other people, either through individual matching or through group matching as well. They can leverage whatever hobbies or interests they have to cater towards those events. And then even afterwards, after they match, they can follow up of curated events or people to follow up with.
Yeah. Awesome. Great job.
Thank
Cool. Awesome. Okay, now I'm just going to spend this time like providing feedback, what things I felt like went well, what things I felt like could have been more expanded upon.
you.
So yeah. Great. So I think one thing that I really loved is just you being so open to just like knowing that this is a wireframe in this point in time, not thinking too much about like the tiny details of like necessarily like how specific things are laid out. It's like very high level, which is what we wanted at this point in the process, so that's awesome.
Mhm.
I really appreciated how you were definitely voicing the different problems and pain points as you were thinking through each particular page. So that was awesome. And like being able to just think out loud. I think that you were able to do that very well, and really just articulate the reasoning behind it, even though you weren't sure for some points. That was great. Yeah. And I think one thing that I was like really interested about is like kind of how um the group or like this idea of like members
Mhm.
and people kind of come together.
Okay.
So that's like it's really interesting that you started saying member, because I feel like we were like getting to a point where it's like that's where the crossover is, of where you see all the members that maybe you can match with them if you see an event name, and you see like their profiles within event names. Yeah, but obviously we didn't have a lot of time to do much of this. So I think you had a really great high level like vision of what you wanted. And especially with your key flows, I feel like with these screens we were able to get through the most of the jobs like to be done like with the app.
Mhm.
So yeah, great job.
Thank you. That was quite a challenge. I was like there's a lot of things and what to consider, but also keeping in mind of, of course, the time constraints and all.
Mhm,
Um, I'm trying to think, like reflecting on this challenge, like what I think that I could have done better as well.
mhm,
Um, it's hard. Well, if I had been more time, I would just like liked to have voiced earlier on when in terms of matching with other people. I think there could be the thumbs up, but if I could have done another screen, then having those suggested prompts or like or whatnot to send to the other person just to keep that conversation and to
mhm,
break the ice is something that I would have wanted to say. Um, Other things is like even as time is winding down, just like taking a bit more time to tie everything together
mhm,
and having an extra, couple sentences to reflect on what I think I would like to expand upon post challenge if I had more time or some or whatnot.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally fair. Okay. Should I like do like that concludes our interview?
Yeah, if you want, I
Excuse
could
me.
potentially cut it out, but just in case, let's put it in.
Okay. Yeah, I guess like I wanted to say like I totally hear you in that like something that I think you potentially could have like just spent less time on was like the kind of general like pages that people usually like would go through. So like the sign up, we kind of know what the sign up screen is
Yeah,
already. So
I
you
agree.
don't have to feel obligated to go through screens like onboarding, so to speak.
Yeah,
If we
abs-
wanted to focus on the particular like goal of the app, which is just for meetups. I think something that I personally like to do as well is like just listing out like the jobs to be done. So like different actions that I'm going to take and what are my non-goals. So it's like I'm not here to like I'm not here to match with someone romantically. I'm not here to like post my own stuff. I'm not here, kind of articulating like what am I supposed to be doing, and then what these screens are supposed to show the different jobs I'm trying to do, and then just making sure I'm aware of like, okay, I don't want to go into a rabbit hole of like trying to create a post, because really we're trying to like focus on the matching, that kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah, I see. It's to keep clarity of like what is actually important and not being so tied up in, things that aren't as significant in this stage.
Yeah, significant to the specific like problem that
Right.
we're solving for. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Well, that concludes our whiteboard challenge. Great job. And yeah, I'm going to definitely reach out to you soon.
Been a minute since doing whiteboard challenges.
I mean, same.
No, I think it was like so helpful for, future whatever interviews if I do them. But yeah, I wanted to hear your thoughts on if somebody wanted to interview at Meta, what are your thoughts on like the whiteboarding challenge there or tips to pass the whiteboard challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just speaking candidly, when I was an intern and I was interviewing for my internship at that time was Oculus, now is Reality Labs. Um, I didn't in particular do the whiteboard challenge. I actually did like an app critique, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. And I think that that's totally fine because by practicing one of them, you're actually also preparing yourself to succeed at the other. So it's just like the same foundational things and questions of like, what is the goal? Who are you creating this for? What are the jobs to be done? Like I mentioned, like what are the non-goals of this product? And being really just like diving deep and not being afraid to dive deep into like the details of something. When I say that though, like not necessarily like the details of why like as you're whiteboarding, but it's more of just like we're talking about the experience. It's all hypothetical, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but like just really thinking critically about like the problems that are being posed to you, and just like being comfortable with like all the ambiguity as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that as well. And I think really it's the goal. I think the goal of the whiteboard challenge is to truly just know how you're thinking about the problem because there's so many different things to consider of all the different, flows and whatnot, but also keeping in mind with time constraints and whatnot of like just the overall point of the app and the context and everything. So it's really more of a hearing how you think about a design problem, say in real life. Um,
Mhm.
and something that helped me with my past, real life job interview was approaching the challenge as if I was a consultant instead of being in a job interview. Um,
Mhm.
I think at least for myself, it released a lot of, lessened a lot of the pressure that I had of this is a job interview and like being really stressed out over that. So I thought,
Yeah. You're at the end of the day, you're like showing your expertise and like how what you know about UX design, right? So I think like bringing that confidence to the table and trusting that you know what you know, is really important. And I think another thing too that would be a good tip is just reminding yourself like before the interview, what are these people assessing me for? They're assessing me in my design thinking. They're assessing me with how good I collaborate and ask questions. They're assessing me with just how I think of a problem, and like what my design process is if I were to hypothetically like work with another person. So like also just sharing that you're being very cognizant of that kind of like assessment because sometimes you get so caught up in like the details of making sure your screen looks perfect or like making
yeah.
sure you're using the right UX patterns, which is fine, but I also think that at the core of it, like this interview is specifically showing how you would be collaborating together with another person, and like talking to that, like you mentioned, like as a consultant or whatever, to the people who are interviewing you.
Absolutely agree. Thank you again for helping me with the whiteboard challenge. I think if you're able too, just in general, as another piece of advice, if you're able to have, say, a template, if that was allowed, that might be helpful too. But regardless, it really, I agree, it's really about exercising that design thinking and, pulling in how you would collaborate with other people and voicing that out, just being very candid is definitely important. So thank you again, Julia, for your help. And I loved being
Course.
interviewed by you today.
Of course. I'm so glad I could help. I'm so excited that, people are, really using your videos to help them move forward in their careers because like at the end of the day, like you're making it more accessible for other people. So kudos.
Thank you. It means a lot. Well, that concludes today's video. Let us know what comments and what thoughts you have down in the comments below. I will link Julia's social media channels and her videos as well. So thank you again for watching, and until next time.